There's a grand exodus happening in the Bay Area as people are deciding to move out of the Bay Area because it's too expensive and move to areas like Sacramento and the Sacramento metro area. Guys, here's the thing that's crazy. California's population keeps increasing, and the Bay Area is the only spot in California where people are deciding to actually leave and move to other spots in California. Sacramento is on the top of that list. So we're going to talk a little bit about Sacramento and why people are choosing Sacramento as their spot in California. That's right, guys. Population's increasing and Sacramento is leading the charge as that spot where people are moving into. Let's get into it right now. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys are having an enjoyable week. It's getting hot here in Sacramento for sure. Mother's Day is coming up this weekend. So hopefully you guys are having a great week. Okay, let's get into it. First of all and foremost, like Sacramento has always been that spot. Everybody from the Bay Area loves the Sacramento area, affordable California and everything too. So Sacramento has always been that spot that you always hear like Redfin articles, the SacB talking about for the most part, how we are that spot people are loving that the Bay Area loves. Now for me, as we've seen lately, like the Bay Area hasn't been the most stable of real estate markets and people are leaving the Bay Area. People, some people we've actually had right now we're talking to currently that have had hot, their stock portfolios are hit and they're having to stay put. But for the most part, we're seeing the Bay Area is getting really, really soft with everything going on. So why is Sacramento so an amazing spot to live? For me, I grew up in the Bay Area and I love the Bay Area, Giants, Warriors, what's called Chris Mullen, throwing a few names out there, Jack Clark and all that stuff too. Dave Kingman on the Oakland A side. And for me, coming to Sacramento was like a no brainer. For the most part, I came here, like 15 years ago, and I had always driven through Sacramento and I kind of wondered like, I didn't know what Sacramento was all about. I didn't even take the time to get to know Sacramento. And Sacramento for me was crazy. Maybe it's because it was a state capital, maybe just because the downtown area has never been so like amazing to look at. Sacramento's always kind of had that kind of vibe. Everyone's kind of throwing hate at Sacramento. Oh, Sacramento, there's no way I'd move there. It's hot, it's flat. And I get it. So for me, 15 years ago, I made the move over here and I didn't know what to expect. I walked in a little bit of a chip on my shoulder and I was looking at Sacramento and I just didn't really know what to expect. Hey, Tatiana, good evening. It's getting hot here in Sacramento, huh? All right. So for me, I didn't know what to expect in Sacramento and it was foolish of me to kind of like just assume based on everything that I saw on the internet and everything too, that I knew what Sacramento was all about. Now, Sacramento is funny because it's like, for most people that don't know Sacramento, you're going to think it's like hot, flat, and there's really not lots of stuff to do here. Now, everyone always talks about Sacramento. Everyone moves from the Bay Area to Sacramento because of affordability, which is definitely the top reason. But I do think the thing with Sacramento right now is if you look in California with all the new home stuff happening, like we're definitely leading the charge. So for me, I think to myself, like I'm on the ground floor of something really, really good here in Sacramento. We have new home communities. There's going to be a total of like 30,000 new homes in Folsom, in Elk Grove. There's going to be some in West Sacramento as well, too, in Roseville. So we're seeing a lot of growth and a lot of development. Now, people don't like Melrose, but what is that Melrose going towards? All the Melrose people are paying with all those new homes. We're talking new schools, new parks, new everything. So our area in Sacramento is just growing and developing and everything too. Now, for a lot of people who don't know the Sacramento area, there are so many areas of Sacramento that you can pretty much have anything you want. If you're a golfer, we've got some of the top golf course communities, in my opinion, in California. I think if you're someone also who likes more of that like dry kind of Sedona-ish Arizona vibe, you can go over to Lincoln. Got some of that over there too. If you like a little bit more of a farmy, but luxe farmy kind of vibe, you got Loomis. If you want to go to Granite Bay, you can get those estate style homes. Now, on the other side of the coin, you can also get homes here for like $400,000 to $500,000. Homes that in the Bay Area would run you about like 1.3, 1.4. And so that's one of the biggest things for me is like, I didn't want to just settle for a home in the Bay Area. I just didn't want to just say, hey, look, this is it. I'm good. Now, what I've also noticed myself is because a lot of people coming in from the Bay Area buy bigger homes, what you end up noticing is that you don't have that like claustrophobic feeling where you want to leave your house all the time to go for walks, go to parks, do things, right? I remember growing up in the Bay Area and it was my brother and myself and my parents. We lived in this little Eichler and it was always like, hey, what do you want to do today? Let's go somewhere. Let's do something. And the thing about Sacramento that's really nice is, and this is something that'll save you some money as well too, is the fact that because you're going to be buying a little bit more square footage, because you're going to have that yard and everything too. A lot of people here in Sacramento we're kind of homebodies. We're kind of gatherers. We like to throw parties at our houses, get the family over for the weekend and everything too. And so that's another thing for me that I've saved a whole lot of money. Living in the Bay Area is like every time you leave the front door, like money started just shooting out of your wallet. Now, I have talked to a lot of people from the Bay and a lot of people from other parts like Los Angeles, like the Bay Area, like San Diego. And a lot of people are also moving here because of the possibility of getting jobs. A lot of people have been looking at state jobs, like IT jobs, like a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses are moving to the Sacramento area. That's another thing about Sacramento that I absolutely love that I always highlight on this channel, but hopefully you guys will understand the fact that, in certain areas like the Bay Area, tech is very heavy. Most people are working in tech or invested heavily in tech, big, with the stock market. And so what you notice in San Francisco and the Bay Area, especially San Jose and everything too, is that if the tech sector takes a little bit of a tank, everyone gets hit and everyone's hurting and everything too. And so for me, like the nice thing about the Sacramento area is that yes, we have stocks, yes, we have all that stuff too. But the beautiful part about it is like our job industry isn't as invested in the stock market as like the Bay Area, right? State jobs, you got medical jobs, you got education jobs. And also because we're building so many houses, you also have a lot of construction jobs. You have landscape people who are creating some amazing companies and they're landscape designers and they're working with all the new homes. You got some people also like appraisers, like my buddy Amy. I mean, she's selling or she's working with so many people appraising homes just because our market is just so like there's so many houses being sold, bought, and everything too. Now, for me, I love that. And like I said, in the Bay Area, I think that there's a lot of pros, like the weather, it's a little bit cooler in the Bay Area. And there's a lot of fun things to do in the Bay Area. Don't get me wrong. Like I loved going to North Beach, like going to, where else? Like Cha 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 and the Haight. I loved all those spots. But I was just like, it was amazing to me that after COVID, one is I didn't really see that being as thriving as it was prior to COVID. And I saw the prices increasing as well too. And part of me was like, like during COVID, it taught us one thing, especially in Sacramento, is that we created our own environment in our homes. We created that like backyard resort style vibe that we could kind of hang out in. We created more like, live workspaces. Right now, a lot of people will come up to Sacramento. They'll spend maybe like $600,000 or $700,000 and they'll get like a 4-bedroom home and maybe an office space, that can be used for Zoom meetings or whatnot. So for us, a lot of people are moving to Sacramento for that. Now, there's other spots, as we can see here, like, Central Valley's big, Inland Empire's big as well, too. So it's not just Sacramento, it's other spots of California. People are basically saying, like, I'm kind of fed up with Bay Area prices. I'm kind of fed up with SoCal prices. I don't want to pay that much, and I still want the California lifestyle. In areas like Sacramento, areas like the Inland Empire, Central Valley, all those areas answer the call to so many people who really don't want to leave California, but they want to basically afford California. And like I said, Sacramento is definitely one of those spots. Now, if you see here, look at Sacramento, San Francisco right now. I mean, like, if you look here, here's California and basically the increase we had all the way up. Look at that. 2025. And I don't care what anyone's telling you on those like Texas YouTube channels or Florida channels. This is legitimate numbers based on people moving back to California and the California population. Like we are growing. It is nuts. But honestly, this is the Bay Area. 2020, 2025. Look at this. Look at that. And it's dipping. I mean, it's absolutely kind of crazy to me. And so for me, a lot of people like in the Sacramento area are wondering, like, is this like exodus from the Bay Area to Sacramento going to stop? No, it's probably not. I mean, a lot of people still want to do that one day a week of work, or have to do one day a week or whatnot. They don't want to be too far from San Francisco, and Sacramento plays in perfect to that. A lot of people are loving Elk Grove for the commute as well too. And so for me, I look at this and I say to myself, the more Sacramento's population and the Sacramento metro area, whatever, starts dropping, the more you're going to see people move into the Sacramento area. Now, one of the things that's really good about our market specifically, because as we all know, truthfully, like the market right now is slow. Economics, the economy of the country is making everybody nervous. Everyone's kind of freaking out. Now, who are the people that aren't really nervous? There are people coming in from the Bay Area that haven't lost their shirt in the stock market. And they're just basically saying to themselves, you know what? We need to get to higher ground where we're not spending as much money. We can buy our house and we can basically be there and exist and not have a huge mortgage payment or have a huge rent payment, because rents in the Bay Area are absolutely like ludicrous as well too. So people right now, what you're seeing is that even though the market's a little stalled, and it definitely is stalled, we're talking nationwide. I mean, no one's feeling comfortable about buying right now too, as much as we hope they would in the spring and summer market, but still we're seeing movement in our market. And so what does that tell you? That tells you that because of San Francisco, because of areas like San Jose, because of SoCal and other bigger markets that are feeding into Sacramento, a lot of people are moving to areas where they feel like, you know what, look, I'm gonna sell my $2 million condo. I'm gonna go to Sacramento. I'm gonna buy myself maybe $700,000 to $800,000 house. I'm gonna live there. I'm gonna be a little bit more relaxed, and I'm gonna weather the storm right now too, while not having to deal with this huge payment, mortgage payment, and also deal with all the expenses that I have in the Bay Area. So that's kind of what you're seeing in our market, and I love that. That gives us a little bit more of like, you know, sales happening. That gives us a little bit more of demand when in this market most markets are dead. Like Phoenix is taking a beating right now too. Vegas is as well too. Houston is like just brutal right now too, and I haven't hit anything in Florida. So like guys, we got it good here. Yep, people tired. People tried out Texas and Florida and said nope. Honestly, I'm with you 100%. And like the funniest thing about this is we saw this huge exodus in California. People just like saying, hey, you know what? I am out of here. I'm gone. I'm leaving COVID. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to Texas, you know, and maybe it's the Gators. Maybe it's the hurricanes. Maybe it's the tornadoes. Maybe it's just like the politics out there. Maybe it's just like everything. But they realized that California was that spot that gave you great weather. And honestly, like the California lifestyle is something that is literally alive and well in the Sacramento area. I love California. I'm not leaving California, like if I can help it ever. Like I love the air, I love the weather here. I like the vibe here and everything too. Like I have friends who live in like Texas. I have friends who live in Florida, Phoenix, or Arizona as well too. But for me, I mean, like California, I mean, I think that a lot of people when they moved out of California, they basically were like, I didn't realize how good I had it in California. And that's why they're moving back. The sad part is a lot of people sold their homes in California, moved to Texas, and, you know, maybe like sold their house here in Sacramento for, let's say 800, moved to Texas, bought a McMansion for like $400,000. And now it's hard for them to kind of get back into our market because, you know, between COVID and now, majority of homes increase at least $200,000. So it's a tough one. But like I said, I think Sacramento is still an amazing spot to live. All right. We got Gavin. Hey, Mark, can you give your quick opinion about what impact the new law had on buyer sellers fees and who's paying them? Thanks in advance. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So here's normally what happens. Okay. Like this is my own 2 cents on this whole thing. I think that there are some weird things happening in this and weird, I mean, kind of shady a little bit. Okay. So here's the thing. I talked to some clients of ours and we sold this house in Wilhagen. And for the most part, what we're seeing most of the time are sellers kind of picking up the tab for the buyers kind of commission, right? But here's where it gets interesting though, too. I've seen buyer's agent actually, you know, buyer's agents put like 3% all the way up to 4%, 4.5% on the buyer broker contract. And for me, like for example, if I was listing a home and I saw all of a sudden someone coming in with like a 3% commission or maybe a 4.5% commission, you know, unless we were in desperate need for that offer, like I would throw it back at like, you know, saying we'd pick up maybe a 2.5. So I'd say more than ever, like I was talking to the people who own Tuscan and they're moving to Phoenix. And I said, look, a lot of agents right now are a lot of agents because the market is a little slower. They're going to try to get you on the 3%, 3.5, 4.5. And for me, like every agent's their own thing, but understand and I know like agents are going to say like, oh, standard is whatever you want to put there. But honestly, 2.5, like 2.5. And even at times 2.5 can be a little bit much as certain times when it's like a slam dunk deal. And I know right now all the realtors are like, ah, man, I can't believe that guy's saying that. But for me, if you're signing a buyer's broker and you have to right now, legally, you have to sign that before starting to look at homes. I would say like, you know, 2.5, if I was a buyer right now looking to basically buy a home, I wouldn't sign anything with an agent that was more than 2.5. I would verify the agent, you know, make sure he's good to go. Now, the other thing that's too funny is like literally those buyer brokers, like if you don't like the agent you're working with, all you need to do is send them a written notice that you're letting them go. So if for some reason you sign yourself a buyer broker, can't even say it right tonight. and you don't like them, just give them a written formal, like they're gone and they're gone. That's it. As far as I know, that's the easy way to get rid of it. But people feel like because it's a contract, kind of a listing agreement, it's hard to get out of. What I've heard more than not is just a written notice basically saying, hey, I'll no longer need your services. Appreciate it. And there you go. And you're done. So for me, what I've been noticing in the Sacramento area, like I said, with Tuscan, we had someone write up an offer and it was a 3% commission for the buyer's agent. And I think we flipped it back, and based on the price point and what they're doing, I have to verify with Michelle, but I think we flipped it back to a 2.5. So I would say like that's kind of what we're seeing. But again, I would say verify all this stuff. Now, where it gets even, and this is the part that really, really irks me, right? Okay, so new homes are one of the things that, like, I started doing new home videos maybe like 6 years ago, like, oh, gee, new home videos in Sacramento. But the thing that really kind of pisses me off, and I don't mean to go there too much, is that I've been seeing realtors right now, like, sign people to 3% buyer brokers. Go show someone a brand new home, check them in, and the commission's maybe like, I don't know, 1% or something like that. And then they end up getting 1% from the builder and then charging the buyer 2% on new homes. I think that is completely insane. And I think I would definitely watch out for that. But if you guys have worked with us, you know how we roll, right? Like, how we are is straight up the way I think it should be, right? We send out a buyer brokers, because legally you have to do that. And in our buyer broker, it states whatever the builder is paying for commission for the realtor is what we get. That's it. Not $1 more. That's right. That's what we do. And I believe like we're one of the only teams that actually does that. So for us, like, I don't think it's fair. I mean, a lot of people right now are struggling. A lot of people, are going to new homes because they don't have that big down payment. A lot of people like are in that situation. And I think the idea that you're working with clients, you're signing them to a 3% or even a 2.5 at that point, and you're enforcing it, and you're going into a new home where maybe they're offering like 1% to your agent. Trust me, your buyer's agent is probably going to stick you with that other 1.5. And if you don't have it, you got to come up with it. And so for me, like, just guys, be careful out there. Honestly, like, if you sign a buyer's broker, like you said, if you work with our team, you're going to know that our buyer can't even say it tonight. Our buyer broker that you have to sign before we go showing has an addendum in there that basically says whatever the builder pays is our commission. So that's kind of one of the things that, like, I would say just be wary of, and also just understand that if you're in a situation where you're not happy with your realtor, like, feel free to give me a call. I'll show you how to get out of it. But at the same time, honestly, like, don't do it for one of those things where, like, you see a house and all of a sudden, like, you're working with a listing agent. Do it because a person isn't good, because at the same time, it is their job. It is their livelihood. And if they're good people and they're like, busting their butt to help you guys get into a house, like, and you've already agreed on that, there is something to be said about that as well too. So that's it. And if you have any other, and as far as the impact goes, like, I mean, honestly, not much. The impact of that is basically just the fact that right now, like, let's say you're listing a house for $1 million and someone submits an offer for 1.1 and says, hey, your client has to pay for my buyer's agent. We'll probably do it. If an offer comes in at 950, there might be some negotiation for commission, but I think all realtors really understand the fact that, like, that how it was before the buyer broker is kind of how it's going right now too. So I don't know. I would just say, just be really kind of careful about who you work with. And also, if you are at all entertaining new homes, just make sure that it's clear that whatever the builder pays is what that realtor will get, because I've seen people in really bad shape who've been so struggling to get a new home because that's all they could get right now because they don't have the money in the bank. And all of a sudden they go to close and the realtor's like, hey, that's great. The builder paid me 1% of my 2.5% commission. So you got to pay me the rest. And the buyer's like, I don't have it. So just be really, really careful when that kind of stuff happens. All right. Next question. Do you think people in the Pacific Palisades and Atlanta might move to SAC instead of rebuilding in SoCal? That's a tough one. I think that there's going to be a percentage that, I mean, we've already talked to a bunch of people from LA that are moving up. I think there are going to be people, but I also think that right now, there's a lot of people that just love that climate, love the area, and they feel like tied into that area and they're going to stay. If I had to give you percentages, if I can say percentages, I would say maybe 20% are probably going to relocate. And I'd say probably 80% are going to stay and build. I mean, they do realize the fact that, like, if they build, it's a very desirable area, and they've already got everything kind of in stone there. For me, if it was me, oh man, that'd be tough. Like, let's say I had this amazing, like, $2 million house and pretty much a little shack, and it burnt down. Would I rebuild there? I mean, it depends. If my kids were in school there, if like all my friends were there, I don't know. I mean, I'd be torn. Now, if I was in a situation where maybe the kids were in college and, and just, I was kind of over it already, I might look towards a community or maybe like a active community and do that. But I would say that if you were based on what I'm seeing as far as activity, I'd say 20% probably relocating, 80% are going to build. So that's kind of what I would gauge. All right. Can I have you as my realtor? I'm thinking of buying a home in Roseville. Absolutely. And you will see our buyer's broker. God, I can't say it. I'm sorry. I've been out all day showing homes, so I apologize. You will see our contract when we work with people is basically the addendum is straight up. Whatever the builder pays, that's our fee. Like I said, guys, I mean, give me a thumbs up. Don't you guys think that that's kind of the way it should be? Especially for new homes. For me, I've always been that way. And it boggles my mind because I've heard of one realtor, I think they do new homes in Elk Grove and they're charging 3.5. And they've been in situations where, Elk Grove's still hot. They're not paying a lot of commission for realtors, and they've stuck their client with 2.5 commission on homes because that was the contract. So just be really cognizant of this stuff too. But I'd say at the end of the day, just know who you're working with. And that brings me to another thing too. One of the things about Zillow that drives me just absolutely nuts is, one of the reasons why I started this channel was for the most part that I wanted to show you guys that on Wednesday, was at 5:30, but now it's at 7 p.m. that I'm going to show up and I'm going to unpack my week in Sacramento for you guys and answer any questions you have. And this is almost like a vetting process for you guys, like me coming out here answering questions and hopefully hopefully we work together and this is something that works and we set up a call. I think it would be nice to see more realtors kind of do this stuff. I'm kind of sick of those minute videos where the house tours and everything too. I don't think there's a lot of meat and I don't think there's a lot of people understanding if you're a good realtor or not. I think in our market specifically, cause like I said, I'm not going to generalize California or even the nation in general, but our market specifically, I've gotten a lot of people who've worked with our team specifically because they say, based on what you've been doing, you've sold in various areas all over Sacramento. So you're going to be the one to tell us if Rockland's a better choice than El Dorado Hills, Elk Grove is better than Davis, East Sacramento is better than Lincoln. I mean, that's one of the benefits about our team is that, there's a lot of realtors here in the Sacramento area that niche, right? There's some people that are just Morgan Creek, like my buddy Tammy Condi. She does other stuff, but that area. And then you have people who just do Grant Bay. Then you have people just do El Dorado Hills. Now, if you work with one of those realtors, they're probably really good in the El Dorado Hills area, Grant Bay. I mean, they've done it a lot, but they're not going to be able to do the Pepsi challenge between maybe a Serrano versus Catavadera versus Whitney Oaks, or where the custom homes are in Loomis. So I would say one of the things that I always tell people about our team is the fact that we just do a lot of business in almost every spot in the Sacramento metro, Roseville, Rockland, Lincoln, you name it. We've even put 4 people in at Bickford Ranch at Toll Brothers. So one of the things I like to stress to people out there too is just make sure that whoever you're working with as your realtor, they're getting paid money, and you should definitely interview and figure out who that realtor is. And and like I said with Zillow is just so kind of disingenuine. It's the way they put the way you pay to play there, the way you do the Zillow leads and everything too. I say I have a lot of realtor friends of mine who work with Zillow and everything too, but I would say vet them. Not all realtors are created equal. And if you're coming into the Sacramento area and you just want to see a house, go to the open house. I wouldn't even deal with a realtor at that point. That would just be my own 2 cents. Now, getting back to basic and getting back to why we're here tonight, I would say straight up that we are seeing a lot of traffic coming in from San Francisco and the Bay Area for sure. I mean, that's our number 1 spot that people funnel into Sacramento. I'd say number 2, we're seeing some stuff coming in from Los Angeles and SoCal. I'm seeing a lot of people coming in from Portland, Florida too, and Texas. So we are seeing people come in all over the place. I mean, I see all these videos about people saying California, everyone's leaving California. There are there are probably a lot of people also leaving California, but hopefully they find a great spot. But what I've seen more than not is people who leave California have that regret about getting back into California. I mean, guys, in Sacramento, we really have it good. The weather, yes, it's hot right now. Don't get me wrong, it is hot. But at the same time, like tornadoes, hurricanes, gators, I'm just not a big fan of that stuff too. We have it really, really good here in the Sacramento area. And you can still get something for like probably like under $500,000, honestly. If you go to like Vineyard, if you go to Rancho, you can probably make that happen. So I like our area. All right. All right. Thinking about moving back to Sacramento, specifically watching homes in Gold River. How do you feel about current situation there? Seeing multiple homes over $1 million price tag. Thanks in advance. Depends on what you're looking for. Gold River is an interesting one. Okay, so Gold River, I tell everyone this straight up: single stories are pure gold in Gold River. No pun intended, but they are, right? What you're going to notice a lot of times in Gold River, you're seeing a little bit more of like, it's kind of like, it almost kind of has a feeling of like an active community a little bit, right? So single stories tend to be just gold mines in the Gold River area. We listed a home in Gold River, what was it, like back in December, and all the bedrooms were on the second floor, and it just took us a little longer to move. 6 months before that, we listed a manor home, all on the first floor, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, all on one floor, and it flew. It's still the record of manor homes sold in Gold River. So I'd say Gold River is pretty solid. I like it. I bought in Gold River specifically because I thought, like, I looked at Folsom, and for what I could get there, I could get better in Gold River for like $100,000 to $150,000 less. So I like Gold River. Now, the drawbacks, and I think Gold River has a more central location than Folsom as well too. The things I like about Gold River is that it's very Stepford, very safe. I mean, honestly, it's like green everywhere right now too. It's just nuts. Now, as far as you guys have probably seen this channel, the negatives I'd say about Gold River is the HOAs can be a little brutal. I mean, I kid you not. In my inbox, I get at least 1 or 2 emails from my HOA, and there's 2 of them. There's 2 of them, right? I live in Marshall Village, so I have the Gold River HOA, and then I have the Marshall Village HOA. So I got 2 HOAs topped on each other, which is just not fun, no matter how you cut it. So the HOAs here tend to be a little brutal. I'd say like right now my HOA is like what, $353 a month. I don't have a gate. And so, like there's a little bit of that, as you could probably tell my voice, that doesn't make me too happy. But my daughter loves the Discovery School over there too. I know all the teachers are all really nice. And one of the things for me, I mean, I can say it's like, this is a funny one. Like a lot of people go to gradeschools.org, and I definitely think go to gradeschools.org. But the thing I like about the Gold River Discovery School is that everybody, right? It's still a manageable school. Like if you look at that new school that's built on Folsom Ranch, it looks intimidating, right? If I was a kid, or if I was like a parent sending my kids to a big elementary that was just humongous, it would kind of intimidate me a little bit as far as like, is my child going to, feel intimidated about that school? Is it too big, right? For me, I love the Gold River Discovery just because it's like just the right amount of students, right? It's still very active, but like I know the parents, the vibe there is really, really good. And it still has that kind of that vibe where like all the parents know each other. There's like a PTO. Normally the kids at the school are also at the Gold River. Like my daughter's doing swimming right now, and the majority of her friends are over there as well too. So it's very Stepford, very nice. I like the area, right? The other drawback is I'd say like if you go to the Powell homes, everything's got to be brown. You got to do architectural committees. That's kind of one of those things. But as far as like a central location, if you're on the 50, you want something that's kind of close to everything. Like Gold River's awesome. Like I don't think I'll be leaving Gold River for at least like 3 to 4 to 5 years. And I still think Gold River's undervalued. I still think for what you get here, I still think that like I like the floor plans better in Gold River than I like in Folsom. So for me, like Gold River is a place for me, at least, I don't regret moving to. And if you have any specific questions about Gold River, I'm completely transparent about all the stuff. Like there's pros and cons to almost every spot you live. And also another thing too, just to note, is because I do kind of hang out with a lot of the parents, like at swim events and everything too. Like I'll tell you this straight up, like I've never heard of anyone really complain about Gold River. I've never heard about the parents going, ugh, I don't like Gold River. Oh my God, Gold River is not great. everyone all the parents all really like Gold River and really like living here. I've never heard too many complaints, or I haven't heard complaints, period, of people saying, I just don't like Gold River because of this. Normally, all the people I run into, well, at the racket club when my daughter's swimming, are just, yeah, really, what do we have to worry about? Everything's green. Everyone, is at swim. We all see each other then the next day at school. It's just really separate and really nice. And, like I said, there's always going to be crime. There's always going to be all this stuff in every single community, no matter where you live. But for me, there is a little bit, it makes you feel kind of like you're in like a little bit of a bubble. And it does make me feel comfortable when I have to go out and show houses or whatnot that my family's here. So hopefully that answers some questions about Gold River. And I tell you, it's still, I think, undervalued. I think that if you're trying to jump in, I think you got to decide between the Powell and the non-Powell homes. The Powell homes tend to carry their value a little bit more. But the non-Powell homes also just are nice as well too, and have lower HOAs. So there's a whole pro and con to a lot of stuff about Gold River. But like I said, I promise I will not try to sell you a house. But if you want to, give me a call and I can just talk to you a little bit about what my experience has been with Gold River. But it should say something that I moved out of a manor home and then I moved into a home in Gold River, even though I was looking at other areas like Anatolia, Lincoln, Roseville. I just like Gold River. So hopefully that helps. All right. All right. All right. Dan Loesch, going in order. Okay. Are we near record low inventory in the greater Sacramento area, or is this within typical range? Right now, we're still in low inventory. It's better than it has been. And I think people are seeing a lot more houses pop on the market. But I don't think that's necessarily because, I think there's a mix of something happening right now. I think one is, I think our demand for right now is slow. I think demand is just slow. I think people are freaked out. Some kind of tweet is going to happen tomorrow, and all of a sudden someone's going to lose a job. So I think people feel nervous about this economy. I also do think that a lot of you're seeing this is the type of inventory you're seeing on the market right now. People who actually listed their house last year, and now they're throwing it back on the market. And if the pricing is good, it flies. If the pricing isn't good, and it was like it was last year, it sits. And I think you have people who are planning on selling this summer, and I think that's the inventory you're seeing. But I think inventory is doing a little bit, stacking up a little bit. I don't think a lot of stuff is moving. I've talked to a lot of friends of mine, like you guys probably know him. He's got a rival channel, Sam Galovi. And I talked to him too. He listed 2 houses. They were aggressively priced, one in Natomas. And I think the other one was, where was it? I think it was like Whitney Ranch or something like that. Or no, Roseville. And both of them are sitting and the pricing is good. Really, really rock solid pricing. I mean, in fact, probably a little low comparatively towards the comps in the area. And they're just sitting. And I've talked to a lot of realtors that are like, it's an interesting market. I have more listings than I have buyers. And so I think what you're seeing is a little combination of things stacking up, but I also think you have a little bit of demand is slow and sellers should be a little worried about their pricing. For us, like I said, the property we were selling in Wilhagen, we went with aggressive pricing. And thanks to YouTube or whatnot, we got that thing in contract with multiple offers. What is it? It's in contract as of an hour ago. So I think you really have to know the area. You have to also, there is a little bit of like knowing what areas are in high demand. For example, the house we sold in Wilhagen, there weren't too many houses priced right in Wilhagen. That's why we were smart about our pricing. We marketed it like crazy and we were able to kind of put this thing down for right now. I mean, you never know. It's not over yet. But at the same time, I think, it's a market where there's no givens. There's no like, oh yeah, we're going to list aggressively. Let's see how we do. We just put a house on the market on Monday in Antelope. And personally, I think the pricing was a little aggressive and it's been getting showing and everything too. And we're talking like, under $500,000, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, mint condition house with a nice yard. And for me, it's like if demand was what it should be right now, that thing would have already gone. And hasn't gone yet. Yes, it's only been a few days, but it's still one of those things that this market isn't as demand friendly as possible. And I think, like I said, 2 things are happening. One is inventory is piling up a little bit. I think sellers are having difficulty understanding that they can't price at a super, super high price and expect to have their house fly off the market. And I think it's also like very, very community centric. A lot of people have been waiting for like a Los Lagos or have been waiting for like, Shelbourne or waiting for like, Johnson's Ranch. I mean, a lot of people have been waiting for specific communities. And if you're that one house that's listed for sale and there's no other inventory out there, your house will still fly with aggressive pricing. So I don't know. It's a crazy market. Like I said, I thought demand would be a little bit more than it is. And it's bizarre when you run into realtors who are basically saying, I have more listings now than I actually have buyers looking. So it is. And also, I talked to my buddy Noel. He's a lender, really good guy. And he told me straight up, he's like, it's so busy with people applying, but we haven't had a lot of contracts come in. So what you're seeing also is that the buyer is very nervous. Buyers are nervous. Buyers are on the fence, off the fence. They're getting pre-approved. They're very picky, like I am, and they're just not 100% on committing to a house. And like I said, I think it's kind of going to be a common theme for the summer. And I think rates are going to be, doing what they're doing. I don't think you're going to see a lot of movement with rates as well too. And I think right now, like I said, in the new home industry as well too, I think things are moving, but they're definitely making the new home community, the new home builders a little nervous because of tariffs. So it is a crazy, crazy market. All right. I was told that after seeing a newly construction home with the sales rep, I could not go back with a real estate agent. Okay, here's the thing. Normally you can't, but at the same time, if you talk to the new sales rep, normally sometimes, they're okay with it because they want you to have the representation. So I would say, depending on who it is, like I said, if you want to work with our team, we could probably reach out to the rep and see if they're okay with it. I think for the most part that, as long as, real estate agent isn't charging you 3% or something, and they realize that they're going to be present for like, the walkthroughs, all that kind of fun stuff. Like, it doesn't hurt to have another set of eyes on, the transaction contracts. I mean, a lot of the times when we work with people with new homes, it's usually just going through the contracts. It's also like going through some of the walkthroughs, but the main bulk of our job during it is like what I call real estate therapy. There are so many like nervous moments where someone goes like, what if our house doesn't sell? Are we going to lose our money? It's so nice to have a realtor there who can kind of answer all those questions. And so for us, we're usually available, like, I don't know, maybe like 7 in the morning to like 9:30 or 10 at night to answer all questions for people. And that's kind of a lot of the stuff that we do. We walk through, we go through the contract. I mean, Alana right now, she's one of the head people doing our new homes too. She actually will go through page by page of the contract with you and show you exactly everything in the contracts. And the funny thing about the new home contracts, for a regular home purchase, like a resale home purchase, contracts may be like 19 pages long. With a new home, it's like 121 pages. I honestly don't know why it's so many pages, but I think there's a little bit of it to confuse the buyer. And nothing against my new home sale reps that I love, but like that's imagine that you go there, you're looking at homes, you're not used to seeing contracts, and then you sit in an office and they're basically like, you need to sign this document if you want the house. And it's 123, 130 pages of a document that just has so much in it. It really does help at certain times if you have questions about stuff to have a realtor like, standing by to answer any questions you got. So, all right. Is that true? Yeah. Like I said, let us know which builder it is. Let us know which rep it is. Like I said, I've been doing this for 6 years and I've been working with, I've worked with every single community, almost every single like OG sales rep, like Stacy up at Toll Brothers, like Joe up at Bickford, I even know like the head sales, like the regional manager at Taylor Morrison, because I remember when she was a sales rep. So if you guys want to, just let me know and we can see if we could work with you guys on those deals as well too. All right, so let's get back to it. San Francisco, people are flooding out of San Francisco. Now, as far as we go, and here's the thing, I think a lot of people are kind of like, confused about how many people are, what's going on with Sacramento. Are people leaving? Are people staying? I mean, we're constantly increasing our population here in the Sacramento area. So for you guys, just so you know, like a lot of people aren't leaving Sacramento, even though they might complain about Sacramento. Sacramento, we are increasing. Now, why is that, right? Well, if you look at somewhere like the Bay Area, right, they don't really build new homes. And so a lot of their stuff is like, they have a set amount of inventory, people sell, people buy, people move in, people like, all that stuff too. Ours, we're adding a lot because we're building new homes. People are actually like, there's some resale stuff going on, but for the most part, like we're adding new inventory, which is something that you don't see in a lot of areas in California or, so you're going to see because we're adding all this new inventory, we're adding more people to the Sacramento area. And it's funny because, a lot of people are like, you know what? I get a lot of comments. People are like, stop telling people Sacramento's doing this. Sacramento's not doing great. They're hurting. They're going to drop their prices. Everything's going, everything's going to crash and everything too. And I'm like, I mean, if you've even seen the amount of building that's happening in West Sacramento, West Roseville, in Lincoln, I mean, even in Loomis, there was a community over there that sold out. All these new homes, for the most part, you're not going to drive through a community, a new home community, and just basically see it empty. I mean, these are homes that are being built, and for the most part, maybe now and again, you got like maybe 4 or 5 houses here and there that are like empty that, are resale or are homes that are sitting there and you can do quick move-ins. But for the most part, like if you think about how many homes are being built by these builders that are being purchased, being lived in, or even being rented out, I mean, that's kind of crazy to think that many new people are actually moving into the Sacramento area. So for me, it kind of blows me away when I think about that. I think to myself like, okay, so probably by 2030, there's going to be 30,000 new homes in the Folsom area, 30,000 in West Roseville, 30,000 in Elk Grove. Then you got West Sacramento, then you got Lincoln, then you got El Dorado Hills. That's a lot of new people moving into the Sacramento area, which, like I said, one of my biggest concerns in Sacramento is traffic. And I know it's going to get bad here. Our infrastructure is just horrific. But like I said, Sacramento is growing. We're increasing our population. We got a lot of Melloroos with all the new homes, and people are loving the Sacramento area. And like I said, I don't blame people. We got location. We got like a growth spurt that's crazy. We got so many things happening, even though, and Elk Grove, the zoo isn't moving there. God, Elk Grove, why do you screw that up? It could have been so great for Elk Grove. Oh, that's a whole nother video. And I'm going to do an update to some of the projects that are happening in Sacramento with Vitali from Onsite Observer in the future. But okay, laying it all down, as we see, Bay Area, love Sacramento. Why? Affordable, still relatively close to the Bay Area, great bang for your buck. Close to Tahoe, close to everywhere. I mean, like we got our own wine district, Amador. We got some great restaurants coming into Sacramento. We got Oakland A's playing, or A's, whatever they are, in Sacramento, which kind of like, a lot of people aren't really happy with the way A's are treating Sacramento. But we got a lot of fun stuff happening in the Sacramento area. So I would say for you guys, honestly, if you're thinking about Sacramento, get out here and take a look at it. There's a lot of fun things to do. There's Nikki. Quality of life in Sacramento is hard to beat. Okay, by the way, guys, if you guys are looking for Natomas, Nikki has got this amazing home on the market. And like I said, she aggressively priced it. It is a great house. Now, one of the things I love about this house that Nikki's got right now for sale is the fact that for me, I love the Natomas area, because Natomas is right between the airport and right between downtown. If you're someone who's looking for maybe an investment property, or someone who's looking for like your first home, like this home Nikki has is amazing. So I'd say reach out to her, because I know this home, she's been showing it. And like I said, I don't know why it hasn't gone yet, because it's priced really, really well. So I'd reach out to her if Natomas is your thing. Really, really, really good home. All right, next. Boom. All right, so here we are. This is why, for the most part, people love the Sacramento area. And this is what gets them. The price point in the Sacramento area is nuts compared to the Bay Area, compared to Los Angeles, compared to like San Diego, right? This is where it gets you, right? People are looking at it and saying to themselves, you know what? I'm going to Sacramento because it's more affordable. And then they get here and they realize that Sacramento is a fantastic spot to live. Community vibe, job situation, things to do, location, close to Tahoe, close to the Bay Area, close to wine country. Guys, that is the entry right there, the price point. But when you come to Sacramento, you will be blown away. You'll be blown away at what your money can get you, but at the same time, you're going to be blown away by what Sacramento has to offer. If you're a golfer, we got amazing golf course communities. If you're someone who likes like hiking, biking, mountain biking, we got all that stuff. If you're a photographer, we got that. Fishing, if you always want to own a boat, some of the houses have areas you can put boats and RVs. We got it all here in Sacramento. So I'd say if you're someone who lives in the Bay Area and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, Sacramento really isn't my cup of tea, come to Sacramento, because I guarantee you, if you haven't been here within the last few years, we will show you a tour like no other. And by the time you're coming home, you will be looking on wherever, looking for houses to live because a lot of people have been doing that. You guys got to know that we work almost every single weekend. We have at least 3 or 4 different parties coming in from the Bay Area, and they're not really sure if they want to live up here in Sacramento. We show them some amazing stuff, and next thing you know, they're here in Sacramento. So, guys, it could happen to you. And I would say, like, Sacramento might not be the spot for you, but what do you have to lose by taking one weekend, coming up to Sacramento, and seeing what it's all about? For me, I wish I would have done it a lot sooner. I wish that I hadn't waited because honestly, I think Sacramento is going to be one of those spots that, even though a lot of people in Sacramento are feeling that Sacramento isn't really affordable anymore, like I do think that in the future, it's only going to be less affordable for people. And so you might want to get in before while the getting's good. And, like I said, could I see prices going up, $100,000 in the next like 5, 6 years? Yeah, absolutely. So, take that as a warning. All right. Hi. Do you anticipate more quality Gold River homes becoming available soon? It's so disappointing to fall in love with a home and discover expenses, 29K, dry rot, and a huge bill to redo the pool service. Yeah, I know. And here's the thing, Wendy. I think the thing for you is it only takes one house, just that one house. And I'd say in this market specifically, I'd say one is, I think in Gold River specifically, single stories are in demand. So knowing also what the hot houses are, if you see a single story that's like, let's say a 3 and 2, maybe an office, and it's a Powell home, if it's in any type of decent shape, it's going to have a lot of activity. I'd say the non-Powell homes, not as much, unless the price point is really good. So I'd say, if you find that house that really, really is like a 9 or a 10 for you, what I did when I had my opportunity and I saw that house that I really wanted, I went for it. I bought it. And was it more that I wanted to spend? Yeah, it was a little bit more than I wanted to spend. Do I regret it? No. 100% no. No. I don't regret it at all. And like I said, that's everyone has to make that decision for themselves. But I would say also, if you look at it based on like your mortgage payment, if you're like fighting between $5,000 or $10,000 and ask your mortgage professional, like, what is that every single month? And he's like, oh, that's about $35. Like, just kind of also keep that in mind. Like, is your dream house worth losing for $5,000 or $10,000? And that's something, like I said, time your life, don't time the market. But at the same time, I'd say if in this market of kind of wishy-washy inventory, if I saw something that I really, really liked, and I said to myself, you know what? I've been waiting like 3 months to find this house. I would be willing to spend a little bit more just to get it, get out of the rat race, get my house, and enjoy my life. That would just be me. And like I said, that's my own 2 cents on it. But I'll tell you something, like, I'm not telling you this advice based on just like, because I'm a realtor. I'm telling you this advice because for me, it took me about 6 months to find the house that I wanted. And the second this house hit the market, I went $50,000 over list just to ensure that it would not be on the market during the open house. So for me, that's how I went and I never regretted it. So that's my 2 cents. Okay. Now let's get into some fun stuff. Let's talk a little Sacramento. Let's talk about answering some questions and having fun. Also, guys, I'm officially moved from Caldwell Banker to Guide. It's a luxury kind of boutique brokerage in the Sacramento area. We have offices in Folsom, in Roseville, in East Sacramento, in Midtown. So if you guys are looking for anywhere underneath the sun here in the Sacramento Metro, let me know. We can meet at the office and we can talk a little bit about a strategy to get you that house. And I'd say right now too, if you guys are looking, a big strategy is just knowing exactly who sells in areas and reaching out to them. A lot of the deals that we've been working with right now are people that, like, for example, like Nikki. I mean, I think she spends half her day talking to agents about things that might be coming soon to the market. So just so you guys know, if your realtor isn't doing that, isn't reaching out to a lot of realtors and kind of figuring out what's coming up, they might not be doing their job. Okay. Boom. Let's get into it. Roseville. This is an interesting one. Okay. So like I saw this and check this out. This was in March, right? And it was basically saying like Roseville leading the region in home sales last month as new homes continue to go up. Now, here's one of the things I really, really want you guys to understand too. New home sales numbers are usually delayed by usually about I don't know, maybe about 2.5 months. Now, what I've noticed right now is that within the last month, things have been slowing down a little bit, right? And I do think right now we're seeing a lot more incentives hit the market with new homes. Now, here's what I mean. Like, for example, this was March 7th, right? But if you look at the statistics, I mean, it goes all the way to the end of January. So what they're saying is for the most part, it's delayed. So understand that like a lot of the statistics you might see, a lot of the news you're going to see from like the Sacramento Bee or whatever, those could be statistics that were valid maybe 2 months ago. But now, because maybe tariffs, because maybe a crazy tweet or something, like we might be in a completely different market. So just like I'm telling you guys this straight up, like talk to realtors that actually know what they're doing, boots on the ground, new. If you're looking for new homes, sell a lot of new homes, or if you're looking for resale specific areas, know those areas. I would say right now, based on numbers, and I see this all the time, random appraisers showing up and talking about numbers that sometimes don't even include like new home sales. Sometimes they're delayed by 2 months. They're giving you guys inaccurate information that's based on stuff that's not real time and current. So honestly, just make sure that whatever information you're getting is legit. For me, I'll tell you, boots on the ground, straight up. I think right now the new homes should not have cut they were doing incentives up till maybe about like, I don't know, maybe like, I think it was like middle of February. And then all of a sudden they cut commissions for realtors and they cut incentives for a lot of the new homes. And then all of a sudden what we noticed was after Super Bowl, demand started to slow down. Everyone was getting a little worried about the economy. They weren't sure exactly what was happening. And then all of a sudden the new homes had no incentives. And so all of a sudden their home sales were sluggish. And now I think they're in a situation where you could see like quick move-ins. I think you're going to see more incentives probably appear in the new homes. They've got to get rid of these new homes, but they're kind of like in a rock and a hard place, right? With tariffs happening, pretty much that can almost guarantee that new home prices are going to go up, but they still have now some inventory that needs to move. And so they can't really raise the prices. So could you guys end up getting a good deal right now? You can, but just also make sure that you know exactly the builder, the community, and the area, because that's going to really, really be important for you guys to negotiate and to figure it out. Like I said, like Elk Grove, Taylor Morrison, I've been seeing a lot of emails from lots that have not moved. Folsom, still pretty solid as far as that goes, except for that new Woodside community by the 50. So you guys got to just know communities, builder, and area. And also a history of how fast these builders and communities have been selling homes. It's going to change. And I do think the new home industry right now is probably a little bit on the ropes. Hopefully they increase their incentives. And like I said, we're going to market some of the, like, in my opinion, the most like, the ones giving out the good incentives, the ones giving good price points. Like I said, and we were with some clients last weekend and we looked all over Rancho. We were looking at Richmond American. We're looking at and Richmond American has like one home left in Rancho. So we're looking at Richmond, we're looking at Pulte, Woodside. And at the end of the day, KHOV was still the best incentive in all of Rancho. KHOV is still crushing it in Rancho with their incentives. So if you guys are looking for incentives, I'd say take a look at KHOV in Rancho for sure. I don't think that anyone beats them. We're going to go see Vineyard this weekend, but still Vineyard isn't as good of incentives as in Rancho. I would say the only other area might be Antelope, but you're not going to get for pricing, but you're not going to get the incentives you're going to get in Rancho. And if a buy down really is important to you, then I think like Rancho is a spot you got to go right now too. So like I said, I think in the future, you're going to see more incentives at all these spots. I think West Roseville, right now, I think there's a lot of communities building there. You got Pulte, you got Jamsey's got like 10 communities out there. You got Richmond American that just opened up 2 communities over there as well. 2 other communities. They've already had 4 over there. And who else you have over there? You got Woodside with 3 communities. And so there's going to be a lot of builders building a lot of stuff in West Roseville. So I do think the builders are a little bit on the ropes right now too. So you could see incentives pop on the market the more we go into the spring and summer. So just stay tuned. All right. Boom. Do you have a pre-approval first before going? Do I need? Oh, sorry. Again, I apologize. All right. Do I need to have a pre-approval first before going to you? No. Here's the thing, especially if you're looking for a new home, I wouldn't even, if it was me, I probably wouldn't even bother with a pre-approval if I was looking for a new home yet. What I've noticed more than not is a lot of people will get pre-approvals and then all of a sudden go to the new homes, and the new homes will say, if you work with our lender, we'll give you $15,000 off towards closing costs. And then they look at their pre-approval letter and say, hey, I really like this lender, but they're not offering me this. And the lender, if they're really, really legit, they're going to tell you that I can't offer you what the builder is offering. Now, I will say this though, too. This is a big one. And this is kind of like a pro tip. I would say find a lender that you really like that has competitive rates. Now, you're not going to use them for the new home, but I would say to them, look, here's the thing. In the future, I'm going to refi. Now, I'm going to give you a first look at my refi, and you have my word. If you will look over the paperwork that the builder's lender is sending me and show me if there's any additional fees that are BS. Because I have seen lender, like my buddy Noel over there has looked at some of these things. And he's like, I don't know what this fee is. This makes no sense. $1,000 for an appraisal. So I would say, like, if you have that kind of like really good relationship with a lender that, maybe you worked with before, maybe that they're good people, they give you really good rates, they'll look over your paperwork and they'll basically call out any random fees that the new home builder's lender is doing for you. So that would be my 2 cents on that. All right. Go to some more questions. Guys, if you guys are enjoying the broadcast like we do every single Wednesday at 7 p.m., smash that like button. It would mean a lot to me and the YouTube algorithm. Also, guys, if, for example, like you're seeing this on repeat, understand next Wednesday at 7, bring your questions, ask your questions. I don't duck questions. I'll answer every single question you got regarding the Sacramento market straight up. Like I said, I run one of the more active teams in the area. We do a lot of relocations. We do a lot of selling of homes. We do new home sales. We do resales. We sell land. We do custom homes, you name it. And we pretty much do it. And now that we're adding Corey to our group, we're also going to be adding commercial as well too. So if you're someone who's looking for a commercial property, I got you. So we should be able to answer every single question you got. All right. All right. Henry, hey, Mark, have you ever heard of any new home builders being able to offer any finance incentives for investor purchases? Thanks. Yeah, 2%. 2% is usually the max that I've seen. I was talking to and they said 2% is the max that any new home builder can give investors. And KHOV does that. So I'd say like I said, if you're looking for an investment property, I think 2% is the max that they can do. I think KHOV does that. I don't know if KB does that or not too. But I think, yeah, 2% is the max. But if you want to, like I said, we do work with a lot of investors. But if it was me and I was buying an investment property right now, and I know, believe me, I know, like a brand new house, no problems, none of that stuff too. I still think for me, like some of these houses, like in the College Glen area, Rosemont, La Riviera, you can get yourself like a nice, like 3 and 2 for like 420. Put in a seller's credit. So like, it can help you with like closing costs or whatnot. I still think those are especially as an investor, because, like I said, new homes aren't giving investors a whole lot of love. That's the area I would go into. And like I said, Corey and I have been working with some people, some investors as well too, and getting them some amazing deals. Corey actually talked to this one guy and he was looking for a resale investment property. And he actually penciled was it a quad that worked for them better. So there are solutions here, but I would say jump on a call with myself or Corey. We can kind of go over that stuff with you. But like I said, don't always go for the new homes. I get it. But here's the thing with the new homes as well too. They stick you with Melrose. If you go to College Glen, you go to La Riviera, you're near Sacramento State, strong, very, very strong rental market. You don't have HOAs, you don't have Melrose. And those ranch style homes, yes, they're not as pretty as like the new home communities, but honestly, they're not really, there's not too much that's complex about those things. They're real wood, solid materials. If you get your inspection done, I mean, they're really, really nice. And a lot of people that we know straight up have their entire portfolio in those areas. So that could be something. Okay. So here we go. A lot has not changed. Nothing's really changed here. Yeah, like I said, guys, if you're expecting interest rates to do some crazy stuff, I think you're going to be seeing a lot of just what's this right here, for a while. I would say the only way that our market gets a crazy amount of demand right now, because by this time it's already May, a lot of people would have already been here looking for their homes, wanting to make the move during the school year and everything too. And like I said, there is some demand, don't get me wrong, but not to the amount of demand that we were hoping to. Like I said, a lot of people have listings, not a lot of buyers. So I would say more than not, if for some reason we dip like around a 6 point, maybe 3-ish, 2-ish, or even high 5s, I think all bets are off, and I think we could see another surge of people coming into the area. But I think for the most part, what you're going to notice is a little retreads. You're going to see some listings hit the market, high priced. And eventually, probably towards the end of summer, some of the listings that were like at a high price, the sellers are either going to decide, you know what, I'm really going to sell my house and I'm going to reduce the price, or I'm just going to rent it. And I have actually one of those clients right now who we're going to be listing his house. And he said, hey, look, I want to get my price. And if I don't, then I'm probably going to end up renting my property. And I think that's what you're going to see to a lot of people in our market. So, like I said, I think if spring rush was going to completely go crazy right now, I think we would have seen it by now, but I think demand is a little light. On a good note, though, because of all the inventory stacking up, we could see a lot more inventory when interest rates dip a little bit to give you guys some options. So it's not all bad. I think it's slowly, eventually we might get back to a market where we have a lot of inventory. And hey, who knows? 2026 buyers market, anybody? I'd love that. I mean, buyers have been beat up so much. So, okay. Next, love your videos. You're advocating to move to Sacramento, but there are key points I disagree with. I feel like buyers need to be aware of some downsides too. Cool. Like I said, guys, if you put your comments, if you put anything, if you disagree with me, like on anything that I'm saying, that's awesome. I think on this channel that if anyone has contradictory like points, or they're saying, hey, Mark, you know what? You said that. I don't agree with you. I want to bring it up because I do think that this channel should not just be about like what I'm telling you guys. I also think that if there's people out there with insights about Sacramento, like maybe I am wrong. Maybe you do say, you put something in there that's right. And so I will always share those kind of comments so we can kind of have like a little bit of a talk about it. All right. And you're be aware of. Point two, veggies in general are cheap and can be exported. I've been to the farmer's market here and I didn't feel like it was significantly better in quality than what you can buy from the supermarket. In comparison to coastal areas where seafood is more abundant, it may not be a plus. Okay, here's what I'll say about as far as like the farm to fork stuff, right? I would say if you're going to go out to restaurants, a lot of the restaurants use our natural or like our produce. And I've been pretty much impressed by it, right? Now, for me, I don't necessarily go out and eat all the time. I'm not a big, if you guys watch the channel, you're going to know that I'm a big fan of barbecuing at my house, the Traeger, the pool, having people over. For me, like I said, I think the farmers markets are pretty good. I think if it's me, I'd probably go to the farmers market in Davis, which I think is honestly probably my favorite farmers market of all time. And I think you can get some really, really good stuff. The only big thing about the farmers market that I will tell you is everyone thinks the farmer's market is going to be cheap. It's not cheap. Okay. So yes, I think the produce you can get at the farmer's market, especially in Davis, is amazing, but I think you're going to pay through the nose for it. And I think though, I will say restaurants like Ella, the kitchen, you're going to get really, really fresh produce out there and you're going to probably taste it in the food. But I would say this, I mean, some of the things that I like, going shopping or going to the farmer's market or just to go out and have fun. The Davis market, though, I'll buy some stuff, but it's pretty pricey over there too. So I'll say that it's nice to be known as a farm to table or, farm to fork capital of the world. But yeah, I'd say I wish it was a little bit more like apparent. I wish it was one of those things where like, you go to like local stores and they have so much produce left and right from local stuff and we get better produce than the rest of the world. But nah, it's not really as crazy as that. So fair point on point number two. All right, point number three, the activities mentioned in your video are just as costly as what you can do in the Bay Area or Southern California. You can park somewhere and hike in the Bay Area or go look around the Bay Area just as much. The cost of parking downtown is also exponentially increasing due to the city's deficit. As the city expands and develops, eventually a lot of these activities will cost too. Okay, so here's the thing for me. Okay, one is the Bay Area for me, it just like, it depends where you live, right? You are right. Like, for example, here's the thing. Let's say you live in San Francisco and you're going to go to the Headlands, right? And you're going to go for a hike in the Headlands. You got to pay the toll on the Golden Gate Bridge. Then you got to get out of San Francisco, which is a bear. Then you got to you can hike, you can bike, you can do all that kind of stuff. And then you come back. And like I said, you got to pay the Golden Gate Bridge toll. Chances are when you get back, you got to deal with parking as well too. And you might even need a parking garage depending on where you live. I just think, and I just remember, like I said, I've lived in both spots. And then Sacramento, it's just, if I want to, for example, if I want to go fishing with my daughter right now, we can hop in the car. We can go over the Rainbow Bridge around there, between Fair Oaks and Gold River. We can throw a poll in and we can call it a day. It's just that everything that I've noticed in San Francisco, it's like, okay, if you need to get like bait, it's going to cost you $1 billion. Parking to go fishing or crabbing in San Francisco, brutal. So for me, I just noticed that like in the Bay Area, for the most part, the little things cost a lot. Even like going like to somewhere like Pier 39, that was just nuts how much money I spent out there too. So I'd say in Sacramento, like maybe you're right about like, you can go hiking in the Bay Area and you're good to go. But I will say this though, in Sacramento, there are more free things to do than there are in the Bay Area. I think that in Sacramento, like for example, like the movie night in the parks that we have, like in the community parks, where like you can just grab your cooler and hang out with like a bunch of people in your neighborhood and watch like a movie that doesn't cost you anything. I think that's pretty amazing. And I don't really see them having that stuff really a lot in the Bay Area, especially in San Francisco. I think also the music festivals, right? I think in Sacramento, you can go to like the music festivals here, and you don't feel like it's parking costs you money. Like the food is crazy. The food, yeah, it's pricey, but not as much as like the North Beach Festival, or like go like what's called the festivals that they have, like the Jazz Festival in North Beach. I mean, all that stuff is way more spendy than it is here. For me, I think that like I still, when I think of San Francisco, I still think of myself like, okay, last time I went to San Francisco, I went to like, what's it called? Golden Gate Park. I forget what it was, like the Academy of Arts, or, the area where you go with your kids to play with the dinosaurs and all that stuff, or the dinosaur museum. And first of all, like the parking garage was like $25. And then getting in there, it was like, I don't know what it was. It was like $85 for like a ticket for the day. And I was thinking to myself, like, where in Sacramento is there anything this insanely priced? And there's not. So for me, I think the Bay Area is just brutal. I think the prices are absolutely out of control. And I think in Sacramento, like, yeah, there are things that are costly or cost a lot of money, like maybe going to a Kings game, but there's nothing that's absolutely like, you look at it and you're like, it's almost like I'm going to Disneyland. And I think the Bay Area is just crazy like that. It's a shame that there's stuff that costs so much money that probably a lot of the population in the Bay Area can't even afford to do it. So that's all my 2 cents. Okay. Point 4, climate. Sacramento is prone to wildfire. Sacramento is prone to wildfire and flooding in certain regions. That's why a lot of properties here require you to pay for flood insurance. As the climate changes, the conditions here will too. Here will change too. Okay, so here's the thing for me. Flooding, yeah, you got to play flood insurance in Natomas. And as far as like, fire insurance, everything too, we do have a couple weeks of fire, but honestly, like comparatively towards the Bay Area, I'd say, I mean, I was in the big earthquake of like 89, and it was brutal how much that place was affected. For me, like fire season, 2 weeks, the air isn't great. Believe me, I know you got pink skies, but it's not anything compared to the Bay Area. The Bay Area for me, I remember those days where like it was freezing cold over there. The rain was coming in. So for me, like I do think right now too. And the other thing too about the Bay Area is, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, like growing up, I grew up in Marin County, and the climate was way cooler than it was in Sacramento. Now I go to the Bay Area during summertime, and it's still pretty hot there as well too. So I'd say for Sacramento, yes, it's prone to wildfires. And it's also, there's some areas you need flood insurance. But for the most part, like when was the last time we had a big fire in like Folsom? When was the last time we had a big fire in like Roseville? I mean, we really haven't had really any major fires. Are there in surrounding areas like, like Rescue? Yeah, absolutely. But I still think for us, the climate here, yeah, it's warm, it's hot. But if you live in Sacramento County as well, too, you got like SMUD, which is half the price of PG&E. So as far as our climate, yes, it's warmer than the Bay Area, but at the same time, I still think that like it's enjoyable here. Like I grew up in the Bay Area, and my friends had a pool. It was freezing cold. I have a pool, and right now it's probably about 80 degrees. So as far as the climate goes, yes, it is hot here in Sacramento, but I don't know. I got used to it after about 3 years, and for me, I think that climate is going to change, but I think it's also changing in the Bay Area as well too. How many people agree with me that you remember the Bay Area being a lot cooler than it is now? Because for me, like Sacramento, yes, it's hot. It's always kind of been hot, but the Bay Area now during summertime, I don't remember the Bay Area being that warm like ever. So for me, that's my own 2 cents about it. And if you guys disagree with me, I want to hear it. But for me, I think the climate is affecting the Bay Area more than it's affecting Sacramento. Okay, next question. Boom. People don't move to Sacramento because it's desirable. They move because it's necessity. It's economical, and there are plenty of state, medical, and other miscellaneous professional jobs. If jobs weren't an issue, everyone would be moving to desirable places like Santa Barbara. Let's be honest, Sacramento is a discount area. Even the luxury, expensive areas are a huge value and inexpensive compared to the luxury areas around the world. It's a Costco, Walmart priced area. Okay, let's break this down a little bit. Here's what I think. I think that Sacramento in general can be viewed that way. It can be viewed as that space, that place that's affordable, and you move into it just because, hey, look, it's affordable spot to live. Now, for me, I've had opportunities to move back to Marin County, and do real estate in Marin County. But the thing that I like about Sacramento is, for the most part, I feel that we are in a really good spot. Like, I'm a big believer that Sacramento is like, and I say this in a lot of videos, I think we are the next big thing, if not right now, in the California area, in California in general. Like, I look at like places like El Dorado Hills. I look at places like Loomis, like Granite Bay. I look at areas like even East Sacramento, and I say to myself, like, yes, you can get things a lot more inexpensive here too, but I all of a sudden start seeing restaurants with Michelin stars pop up. I see all of a sudden things like the X Games coming to Sacramento, maybe not this year, but next year. I see things like, Top Golf creating a new entertainment center in Natomas. I see things happening like, Amtrak having a station in Elk Grove and then at the Natomas airport. Like, I just see Sacramento in like 2030, 2035, where this comment probably will be a little bit like, it'll be outdated, because I do think Sacramento is growing. And I think for a lot of people who moved into Sacramento, yeah, maybe they started and maybe they moved to Sacramento at first about the affordability, but there's other places they could have gone for the affordability. I mean, if affordability was just that, I mean, why not move to like Plymouth Lake, to Linda, where it's a lot more affordable, to Yuba City? People move to Sacramento because, yes, it is affordable, but also I do think that Sacramento is a fun place to live. I think people are super nice here too. I love the idea we're like, hour and 20 minutes from Tahoe. And for me, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I didn't move here just for the affordability. Was it a factor? Absolutely. I moved here because I really, really like the Sacramento area. And I do think that for me, I think appreciation for my house, I think like an area where my kids are going to grow and flourish. Like, I like Sacramento for all those reasons. And maybe I'm a huge Sacramento enthusiast and maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but believe me, majority of the people I've moved into Sacramento, like, they chose Sacramento, yes, because it was affordable, but also because they absolutely love it in this area. They love it here. They're thriving here. You talk to people like Sabo, who's been on the show that I moved in here, like, he wouldn't want to move any other location. You talk to people that I brought on the show that have moved up to Toll Brothers Hidden Ridge. They're loving Sacramento. And I think for a lot of people, you got to give Sacramento a little bit of a shot and then maybe make a comment. But, for me, I don't know. I like it. Doesn't that mean Sacramento is desirable? Because the costs are lower, the quality of life are good, there's plenty of things to do with less traffic and less expense? Absolutely. I think Sacramento is hugely desirable. I think the Sacramento area is affordable. I think there's fun things to do. And I think a lot of people are going to be making money in the Sacramento area. I think Folsom is fantastic. I think Granite Bay is awesome. I think there is so many spots in Sacramento that are awesome. So for me, like I said, I've had many opportunities to live in different areas if I choose to, but for me, I've chosen Sacramento. I love Sacramento. I'm a big advocate for Sacramento because I do think that there's so much stuff going on here. And I think by 2035, I think comments like this, yeah, it probably won't be there. So, like I said, I'm excited for what Sacramento is right now, but I'm also excited for what it's going to be in the future. Like I said, a lot of people back in the day when I was sitting there in Candlestick with my buddies watching the Giants play, freezing, watching Jack Clark, no one thought the Giants would be anything more than a joke. And guess what happened? So I think Sacramento, my friends, I think it's the same exact thing. I think a lot of people are counting Sacramento out when all of us who live in Sacramento, all of us who moved in the Sacramento area realize the fact that we love it here. We're on to something really, really good. And if anyone took a little bit of a chance to come out to Sacramento, they'd see what we saw and would probably buy a house here. All right. Boom. People with comments like that should move to Florida and deal with those alligators. I love it. I love it. Alligators or move to Texas. I think there's like tornadoes and hurricanes over there too. Yeah, I'm with you. You know, like I said, for me, like, uh-uh. I mean, they definitely don't know Sacramento that well. All right. They would run back. Oh, yeah, 100%. Honestly, like you guys saw that graph that I showed you. I mean, there's so many people like moving back to California because they saw that McMansion in Texas and they went out there to move there. And all of a sudden they're moving right back. Guys, California is fantastic. In Sacramento, honestly, affordable California. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. For me, I love the fact that I'm not in a what, 1 or $2 million condo in San Jose that's about 1,100 square feet. I'm squeezing into it, and I'm paying maybe like a mortgage of like $12,000 a month. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm happy that I moved to Sacramento. I have a mortgage payment I can handle. I have a house that I love, and I'm in a community and area that I really wouldn't change for anything. All right. We'll see prices and services go up and job cuts happen. We will see the price for services go up and job cuts happen due to Sacramento. Yeah. California rarely misses an opportunity to take more of your money. It is going to be interesting to see what happens with all this talk of deficit and everything too. I do think services like trash are probably going to go up a little bit too. But at the same time, I still think that is in fact going to probably be something that probably drives more people to from the Bay Area to the Sacramento area. All right. Who loves summer in Sacramento? Seems like it's comparable to Tucson summers. Would you say that's accurate? The summer here, we bike around 5:30 a.m. or night rides, so it's still enjoyable for everything year round. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say Tucson gets a little hotter. The thing because I lived in Tucson for about a year, the thing about Tucson that I really didn't like was the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of foliage in Tucson. It just didn't seem like there was a lot of greenery. And for some reason, when there's not a lot of foliage, and I know the shade and everything too, but for when you don't see trees and you don't see the greenery, it's something to you. It just makes the place hotter. So for me, I think Tucson just felt hotter for me. I remember in Tucson, it was like 127 degrees there. I remember like everybody was in the swimming pool and it was still too warm. Tucson for me, I think is a lot warmer, but I will say this for you. I'd say right now, this time in the season for me, I'll pretty much turn on my whole house fan, maybe around 9 o'clock. It'll cool out my house. And then I wake up normally around maybe like 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I turn on the whole house fan again, and it brings in a lot of the cool air. But there will be those weeks definitely in the Sacramento area where it's still going to be like 90 degrees around like 10 o'clock at night. Those are not fun weeks for sure. All right. Will rates go down in the summer? Unemployment spikes up, they will. I don't know. A lot of people are saying that this market is completely unpredictable. Everyone that I know of right now is basically saying that like rates are probably going to stay where they are for a while. I don't know. I don't know. This is a really tricky thing. I mean, like normally, like if you went back in time, like last year, I'd say like everything is rate driven. And even at the beginning of this year, I was saying to myself, or I was saying on this channel that I think everything is basically how people price things. That's how everything's driven. But now I just think it's basically people just not feeling good about the economy, not feeling solid about the economy. And that's the biggest like stall on people jumping in and buying a house. All right. Santa Barbara, hands down, too bad this town is ridiculously expensive. They have Sutter down in Santa Barbara, but the pay is so much less. Applied to Roseville, Sutter, and hoping to hear back soon. Well, hopefully you do. Roseville is, like I said, well, here's the thing, honestly, like if that doesn't work out for you, we got the Kaiser, what's called the Kaiser campus coming to downtown Sacramento. We got another Kaiser coming to Roseville. We got another Dignity coming to Folsom. So we got a lot of medical happening here. So I'm sure you'll find something. Like I said, I did a poll, which is better, Sacramento or Santa Barbara. And I was just joking around. I mean, Santa Barbara is an amazing spot to live. And like I said, the only problem with Santa Barbara is the fact that to get a house in Santa Barbara that you like, I don't know, what, $2.5 million? That is nuts. All right. I can tell sarcasm here. Great. Can't wait for it to look like LA and San Francisco. Great cities. Here's the thing about Sacramento in general. I don't think we're ever going to get to the level of looking like Los Angeles or San Francisco. I do think Sacramento is going to be this little hybrid kind of city. And I think that Sacramento's due a long time ago. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it kind of works. Like, I think we're going to have a lot of different hubs in Sacramento that are going to be really popular. I think Roseville is going to be even more of a hub. I think New Folsom, as I like to coin it, especially with that sports center they're putting in, is going to be another hub. And I think downtown is going to still be one of it. So it's going to be it's going to be seriously very interesting to see how Sacramento's metro area develops and all the various kind of like hubs that we start incorporating into like, which area is the most popular. Because like I said, for shopping right now, still, I think Roseville's got it. As far as for entertainment, life, nightlife, it probably is a little bit like downtown and Roseville as well too. But I think Folsom in the future, Elk Grove also. I mean, it's going to be a really, really interesting dynamic to see how the Sacramento metro area goes. Because like I said, you got Elk Grove, which is a powerhouse, Roseville, Folsom, and then downtown, which has always been a powerhouse. So it'll be an interesting thing to see how this kind of happens. So, all right, Matt, Roseville. Rockland, Roseville, Folsom, El Dorado Hills, Grant Bay. Whereas most snakes, here's the thing. I'll say this. I think like El Dorado Hills, I've heard, rattlesnakes. But then again, like at Gold River, like now and again, I hear about rattlesnakes as well too. Granite Bay, I'd say like if you look on a map and you look basically like anywhere that's close to like Folsom Lake, I'd say you're going to get a lot of natural life. You're going to get like snakes, you're going to get birds, you're going to get all that kind of stuff too. I would say that should be kind of your like guidelines, right? Like if you're looking somewhere that's kind of like smack dab, like a Roseville, like East Roseville, you're probably not going to get something in comparison to maybe like a Lincoln or a Grant Bay that's like in Los Lagos. So I'd say, honestly, this is how I feel about it. They were there before we were. So you kind of deal with it. But for me, for example, like last night, I saw a fox on my fence. So no matter where you live in Sacramento, you're going to be kind of in the middle of it. I'd say the closer you get to downtown, the less likely you are to see that. I'd say the more you get into the outskirts, like your Cameron Parks, your El Dorado Hills, your Grant Bays, your Lincolns and everything too, you're more likely to see that kind of stuff too. But I would say before you pull the trigger on a house, if you were very adverse on snakes, just make sure you kind of research the area a little bit and you work with a realtor who can help you and point you in the right direction. All right. Boom. I think what turns me off with Sacramento is that there are only seasonal direct flights to New York. And oh, yeah, I know. Okay, that drives me nuts too. Whenever I'm looking for a flight like to New York or to Miami, the thing that drives me nuts about the airport, like I said, there's pros and cons here, right? Is that, you'll get a connector through San Francisco. And the party is like, well, should I be just driving to San Francisco or should I just do the connecting flight and then go wherever I need to go? I think the airport in Sacramento is going to get bigger and it's going to like do kind of what Oakland did. I look at Sacramento's airport as being very like drivable, right? Whenever I have people coming in, it's easy, it's manageable. I like it. Back in the days, maybe it was like maybe in the early 2000s, like Oakland was such a great airport. I mean, how many people flew out of Southwest in Oakland? Fantastic airport, easy. You could drive there, you could park there. It was just so easy. Now Oakland's a whole nother thing. It's kind of getting towards SFO-ish. But for me, I like Sacramento's airport. It's very manageable. It's very easy to maneuver. Yes, you have to kind of deal with connectors to get from like to Miami or New York. But at the same time, I like the fact that it's not a big like cluster. It's easy to get there. Parking's fine. I've never had an issue when I've flown out of Sacramento. Again, the big drawback though is you might have to connect out of San Francisco, which will make you wonder, should I have just driven to San Francisco in the first place? So yeah. All right. Boom. Let's go to some more questions. Let's see where we're on time. All right, we'll go for a few more questions. Hello, my friend. Can you be brutally honest with your inventory surging this spring? Can I ask you, in your most recent experience, why are so many people selling now? Are all those state workers talking their six-figure pensions out of state? Your fans are dying to know. I'd say a lot of people right now are selling their homes because one is a lot of people are moving out of state. Still people are they don't really get the fact that Florida, they have alligators. In Texas, those McMansions are great, but you're still going to have to deal with brutal weather. So I think a lot of people are still thinking to themselves, you know what, I'm going to be moving out of state, right? I think also another driver are jobs. I think a lot of people, moved out to Sacramento with that promise that they could do 1 day a week on Zoom, or maybe 1 day a week, not 1 day a week coming back to the Bay Area. And I think a lot of jobs are calling people back. And so I think that that's kind of why a lot of people are putting their homes on the sale for sale. Now, for me, I've always claimed the 3Ds are a majority of the listings: death, divorce, and departing the state. But I'd probably add the other one is a lot of people are getting called back to work still. For example, the house that we have in Folsom, he's like, well, I work in the Bay Area. Eventually, I want to maybe make the trek, come back to Folsom or whatnot. But for the time being, this makes more sense. So I would say still a lot of people are getting called back. And what you're noticing too with this inventory, it was probably at least 50% of the inventory you're seeing hit the market now is inventory you probably saw last year at a higher price point with different pictures and just being thrown up on the market. So just kind of, I'd say be a little bit aware of that as well too. Sack of tomatoes. All right. I like that. Interesting. All right. Boom. Folsom's peak was 2005. It's gone downhill ever since with the amount of apartments, condos they have built. The amount of traffic driving around town is annoying. It reminds me of Elk Grove now. Here's the thing about Folsom. I think that they are going to have major traffic issues in Folsom. I mean, I think that anyone seeing East Bidwell right now, like I've been stuck. We're like coming on the 50, driving to Folsom. I've been stuck on that like off ramp or on off ramp. And East Bidwell's been a bear. I think that they did not really think about this whole idea of having this many houses. And I think it's Folsom. Folsom's going to be a nightmare. Folsom is going to be brutal with traffic right now. And like I said, I'm sure if you guys are living in Folsom Ranch, you're really, really praying that the connector comes in sooner than later. But I don't really understand the whole concept of just having East Bidwell and not have additional like ways to get in and out of Folsom Ranch. I think that traffic is going to be a nightmare. Now, as far as Folsom, I have high hopes for Folsom. I think the sports center that they're putting in, I think Folsom is going to be, like I said, the new shopping center that's going to be putting in there, the new, like, it's going to be like an El Dorado town square, bougie shopping center as well coming in too. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. I think Folsom is due. I think it's one of the more popular spots to live in all of California. So it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. But I'll tell you this, I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was before in 2005. The only thing for me is I hope they don't build so many new homes that we kind of destroy the landscape of Folsom. One of the things that was so cool about Folsom was the fact that Folsom Lake, the hills, mountain bike riding, you can go hiking, you can see all it was a little bit more like, it was kind of like El Dorado Hills-ish, but Folsom. And now I think they're building so many houses there. Hopefully they know when to say when, but with the majority of the builders, they definitely don't. It'll be a shame. I mean, because like Folsom is a beautiful, beautiful city. I mean, it's gorgeous. And I hope they don't build too many houses. And I think a lot of people probably agree that they probably already have. But hopefully they leave a lot of what we moved or what a lot of people moved to Folsom for. The beauty, the nature, the hills, all that stuff. I mean, Folsom is really an amazing spot to live. So like I said, I think they're getting to that point of building too many houses there, and hopefully that stops relatively soon. All right, Zillow's grip on California's housing market. Hope Zillow and Redfin goes under. Yeah, honestly, like one of the things about Redfin, one of the things about Zillow, one of the things about Realtor.com, the person we have to basically thank for all this Zillow stuff, Zillow becoming the monster it is and all that stuff, are realtors. Realtors pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to be associated with Zillow. They pay thousands of dollars to like market themselves on Zillow as well too. And they've created this, honestly, this like monopoly. So yeah, I don't know, not fun, but it'll be around as long as realtors pay it to be around. All right. You've talked a lot about HOAs and Melloreos. Do some newer homes have both, or is it just one or the other? Now, I would say, okay, the new home communities, I'd say at least probably 60% have HOAs. And I'd say 98% have Melloreos. So that's kind of what you're looking at. Like, for example, like Richmond American, they have one community that has Melloreos and one that has one that has just Melloreos and the other one has Melloreos and HOAs. So Melloreos are going to be for basically, I mean, pretty much every single community that I know of, except maybe a boutique builder here and there, are going to always have Melloreos. HOAs, I'd say about 60% of the communities. So that's kind of what you're looking at. Now, I haven't seen any HOAs except for maybe the active communities have like a crazy, like over $200 HOA. I've seen normally like the let's protect the front of the houses and let's maintain the CC&R HOAs in a lot of the new home communities as well too. So, I mean, there are a few that have gates like JMC, like Toll Brothers always does and everything too. But for the most part, like 60% HOAs, 99 or 98% probably all Melloreos. So hopefully that helps. All right. Get up some more questions. Boom. Why is Sacramento, California the next big thing in 2025? We need more rails, more buses, friendly options to get around. with Uncle Metal Car. Yeah, like here's the thing for me. Hopefully we do get some public transportation. It's one of the things that a lot of people find weird when they're visiting Sacramento. It's like it's one of those things like where's Waldo? Or they're not seeing it. They're not seeing they're seeing there's something wrong with this picture and they don't get it. And then when I kind of mentioned the fact that there aren't a lot of buses, there's not a lot of transit, all of a sudden it clicks in. But hopefully Sacramento does something about this, because considering how many people are moving in here, how many new homes are being built, and the lack of infrastructure in Sacramento, it'd really be nice to have options for transit that you felt safe to do. All right. Sacramento Zoo saying Land Park. I'm happy about this. I'm not a fan of Elk Grove. Yeah, Elk Grove kind of dropped the ball on that one. Um, do you view the Stockton area as competition? Do you saw houses down there? No, I don't. Here's what I will tell you though. What I've noticed, because I was actually having this conversation with a realtor from Stockton, and they were saying, during the COVID epidemic and after, Stockton was really, really hot, and a lot of people were moving into Stockton. But he said what he's been noticing was that a lot of people are actually moving out of Stockton now. I don't know if that's 100%, but I do think that it'd be kind of fun to bring someone, maybe if you guys know of a realtor that's in Stockton that's really good, have them reach out to me, because I'd love to talk a little bit of Stockton versus Sacramento, because I do think that there are a lot of similarities between both areas. And, I think it'd be good for people to kind of understand the different markets. All right. Boom. What's the best way to find homes other than Zillow and similar websites? Here's what I'll tell you guys straight up. I would say number one is, I would say don't put your information in Zillow. Don't. If you put your information in Zillow, it's going to be brutal. Now, let's say someone's like, well, you know what? I really want to see some houses. What do I do? Create an email account that's outside your personal email account. Get a Google number. Give them fake information for the most part that's just about your search. So once you're done, you can delete everything else. Now, I would say if you're working with a realtor, have your realtor send you listings directly. Don't use realtor.com. Don't use Zillow. Don't use all those things, because they're only going to steal your data and they will bug you. And then they're going to sell your data to other companies as well too. So I would say the best way to do it is, for the most part, start up an email account, have that as your email account for your home search, as well as a Google number. And then I would say, and once you find a realtor that you really, really trust, have them send you MLS listings directly from the MLS that aren't spammy. They're not going to steal your information, and you're not going to be getting calls from the tax board, credit repair, or health services for the rest of your life. Because honestly, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and they said, how do I get off Zillow? You can't, because they keep selling your information. So just be very, very weary about that. All right. Why Sacramento, California? Next big thing. I used to take the transit during the mornings and afternoon, but at night it's a whole new world with people who come out from the woodwork. Yeah, like I said, guys, hopefully in the future, Sacramento has transit that people not only feel safe riding, people feel safe riding during the nighttime, during the morning time, and it's just a solid way for people to get to work. Because like I said, right now, traffic isn't even it's not even, Bay Area, Los Angeles like this, Sacramento traffic like this, but with all the homes we're building, with all the people moving in, it's just about time. It's a matter of time before it gets really, really bad. All right. Do you use Zillow? Almost exclusively. I find it easier app to, almost exclusively. I just find it an easier app to use overall. I get it. Here's a big thing for you guys though. If you are using Zillow, do not put your information into Zillow. You will be bugged till the end of time. And if you look at a listing on Zillow and it has a realtor's name right by the listing, chances are they paid to put their name there, and they're not the listing agent. So if you think you're reaching out to the listing agent, ask them straight up, are you the listing agent? If they're not, okay. Next, Elk Grove fumbled, bring the zoo here. Horrible politicians in California. Elk Grove has been known to do this. They screwed up that medical school as well too. Elk Grove, Elk Grove, Elk Grove. What can you do? Okay, Zillow's grip on the California housing market slipping. I stopped my house hunting in Sacramento. I think it'll stay longer renting here in the Bay Area. And it's a shame. I think a lot of people are feeling that way as well too, with the economy being what it is. And not saying people don't have solid jobs or whatnot, but I do think that right now, more than not, people just don't feel secure about what's coming tomorrow and the next day. All right, some more polls and we'll be done. Who loves Sacramento in the summer? Yes, pool time, 40%. No, way too hot. Guys, One of the things I will tell you, if you are someone who does not know Sacramento, if you're someone who's wondering, okay, I hear this Mark guy talk about how he loves Sacramento and it's the most amazing place to live in California or the United States. What are the negatives? I would say the biggest thing is summertime. Come out here during the heat. You're going to know if you're going to love it or if you're not going to love it. But I would say if you're someone coming in from like a Portland or a cooler climate like a Denver or whatnot, come out here during the summer for a few days and see if it's too hot for you. That would be the biggest thing I'd say, just to be wary of. Some people, it's just too much for them. Who wins? Santa Barbara, Sacramento? Guys, I love it. 50-50. I'd say probably the price thing probably edged us out of the 50-50. But if I can't have fun with these polls, what good are these polls? All right. Will rates go down this summer? No. I think we're going to be hovering high 6s, 7s. We're going to be doing this for a long, long time. But I would say one thing for you guys. If you see rates go below like a 6.4 and you are still in the market to buy a house, understand that like waiting for rates to drop, eventually it's going to hit that number where demand is going to spike, prices are going to go up, and you could lose that envelope of trying to get into this market. All right, who's house hunting this weekend? 75% said no. Good. Enjoy the sunny weather. Enjoy it. 25% yes. Well, hopefully those who went out last weekend had a good time. Hopefully you guys found your dream home and everything too. And if you didn't, reach out to our team. I think we're going to go house hunting. Okay, so this is the house that we listed. This was listed on Thursday, and we are currently, as of 2 hours ago, in contract. Listed at 1.549, and we are currently in contract for 1.6, all cash. YouTube, thank you very much. Like I said, guys, I kid you not. And if you go on Zillow right now, hopefully Michelle changed it, it should say pending. And like I said, this is a house we listed on Thursday, marketed like crazy, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and it's in contract right now, over list, cash buyer. Boom. All right, we're ending on that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live broadcast. Like I said, we do this every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. for you guys. If you enjoyed the live broadcast, please smash that like button. I really do appreciate it. And so does the YouTube algorithm. Now on Friday, I'm going to be dropping a video. I'm going to be talking about Sacramento proper, areas like Arden Arcade, East Sacramento, because I think those markets are a little soft right now too. We're going to go over the top 10 of those little pockets that you should be aware of if you want to be close to downtown, if you want not really, like a brand new home, if you want something that has a little character, some of these amazing communities near downtown, Sacramento proper, we're going to be focused on those like Sierra Oaks, Curtis Park. It's going to be a fun video. 7 p.m. on Friday, we're going to drop that one. And thank you guys for tuning in. Smash that like button. Okay, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this live broadcast that we do every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. just for you, so you can get a little bit of real-time information about the Sacramento real estate market and how it's doing. If you're someone who's looking to move into the area, guys, this show is definitely a must. Now, if you enjoyed the broadcast, please smash that like button. And if you have any questions or comments, put them underneath the videos and I'll make sure to bring them up in our next live broadcast. Now, guys, if you are thinking about relocating to the area, there's a Zoom link below. Jump on a call with me and we can talk about all the questions you might have about the Sacramento area. Guys, I do that every single day with tons of people, and we're moving so many people in, it's absolutely nuts. Now, if you're someone who's thinking about selling your house in the Sacramento area, don't settle for those posts in the ground, bake the good open house cookies type of realtors. We market on YouTube and we get your home in front of more eyeballs than any other team in the area, and we love to show you our marketing and show you exactly how we get this done. Now, one last thing before I go, there's a playlist right over there of other broadcasts I've done. Get educated, it's power, and hopefully it'll help you in your great move to Sacramento. Guys, it's a big move, and hopefully these videos over there help you. All right, guys, until the next video, this is Mark. Have a good one.